Saw, dude. So you may be wondering what that is there sitting on my windscreen, which is dirty. I apologize for that. But we'll get into that in just a couple minutes, so stick on around. Looking for a good turn-off spot. That's Sheriff. Maybe we can use that for the thumbnail. I think there's a turn-off spot up here. Turn off there, do some talking. Y'all want to hear me talk, right? This is a motovlog, not just a moto. What's going on, everybody? So I'm going to take you on just a little bit of a thought experiment here. In life, there's always a lot of questions, right? Whether it's about your job, personal life, or the things you love. The fun things that are your hobbies, that are things you enjoy. Well, sometimes there could be so many different questions, it's almost impossible to know where to start or what to ask. Today, we are going to be asking, is the Shorty GP as good as they truly say it is? And if it is, how good is it really? Stick on around and let's find out. What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning on into the Evergreen Motovlog channel. Today, like I mentioned, I'm going to be talking about the Shorty GP exhaust. If it's as good as they say it is, and if that's the case, how good is it really? This is one of the cheapest exhausts you can get for the Honda Rebel 500, 300, or 1100. It is $65 on Amazon. Link is below. But before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for stopping on by. If you like motorcycle content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of motorcycle content, Rebel 500 content on the channel and headed your way, so smash that notification bell for future uploads and or live streams. This is the Evergreen Motovlog channel and welcome. Wearing these heated gloves here. If you've not already, go ahead and check that video out. The link is going to be up here. Also, I do have an install video on the Shorty GP, so go ahead and check that video out as well. That's also going to be linked up here. And I have a link for the Shorty GP on Amazon down in the description, as well as a link for these Wild Yak heated gloves. Keep your hands warm during those winter rides. Man, the bike just looks so nice with the sun on it. I definitely have to take a picture. Alright, so we got some pictures and B-roll. So a question I see a lot of the times on various forums, YouTube comments, all that good stuff, is how good is the Shorty GP? What does it sound like? Is it worth it? Is it a good option? First off, while I'm standing here not on the bike, let's just talk about how good it looks. Because when I originally saw this online, you know, both on the webpage and through various postings, I was like, I just don't really love the look of it, you know? It kind of takes the exhaust. It's a little bit of a different black. Maybe that's due to the, over time, the heat and dirt and everything, but it is dark enough. It does kind of tie in to the black on top of the motor on the head. You know, this black here. So I kind of like it. It doesn't look super out of place. This one does have the baffle. The GP comes with a baffle. You know, it looks better in person, I think, than I thought based on pictures online and all that kind of stuff. I left this on here. This is what the previous exhaust, or the stock exhaust, mounts to, because I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be keeping the Shorty GP or if I'm going to be upgrading to a different exhaust. So I left this on here so that it would be available in case I did swap out the exhaust. But from the right angle, I actually don't think it looks as bad as I thought it did. You know, I'm still not the biggest fan of the Shorty GP look, but, you know, $65, super easy to install. It doesn't look bad, right? I will say, I don't love that this is chrome or silver or whatever, but I could probably paint it or something. Funny story too, I thought for a while that there was paint chips already on this, but it was a bunch of bugs that had died. Yeah, let's get on the bike. So, as you can hear, we got the Shorty GP on the Honda Rebel 500. Before I got the Shorty GP, I really wanted to know, is it as good as everybody says it is? Does it sound decent? Is it really worth spending the $65? if you're really just gonna go and upgrade to a different exhaust really quickly. So I went and I got the Shorty GP because of my motorcycle accident. Whether or not you believe loud pipes save lives, I'm hoping that it could potentially play a factor in future situations. So I went out, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna spend 65 bucks. It's not dropping $400 on a new slip-on. And I bought it. Went ahead, installed it. Super easy install. Like I said, super affordable price. So far, it's got a lot of things going for it, right? When you look at getting parts for your motorcycle, some of the two main things people might look for, some of the two things that I look for, are how affordable is it and how easy is it to install on my bike, right? One of the reasons I haven't prioritized the tachometer is because you have to deal with electrical. And I'm not really looking forward to dealing with any electrical. I know I'll have to, and I'll have to learn, and it'll go well, but I'll figure it out. It's not going to be an issue, but not something I'm necessarily looking to do right off the bat. So far, I think the Shorty GP wins out when it comes to affordability, obviously, and for ease of install. I mean, it's super easy. Just pop it right on, tighten down that little clasp, and you are good to go. You can leave the baffle in, or you take it out. The only thing I'd say is it was a little annoying to get the baffle in the first time around. I kind of dropped a piece inside and it was a little bit of a pain. Other than that, super easy to install. On to kind of like, you know, what I would say the main deciding factor is does it sound good? Well, I think that is something that is kind of subjective, right? Because anything, you know, I mean, does the Honda Rebel look good? Well, I think it does. I think it looks awesome. Does the Shorty GP sound good? Well, yeah, it does. But relative to what? And who are you asking? Whose opinion? Personally, I was kind of skeptical about the sound. I thought it was all right. But like I said, I was a little bit skeptical to begin with because it really didn't become apparent to me until I got the Shorty GP that no matter how many videos you listen to it online, you get some idea kind of what it sounds like, but it's so hard to tell what it actually sounds like. There's so much that gets lost in the recording, and I don't know, like maybe you can do higher quality recordings, and maybe there is something out there that exists that does a better job. But the ones I was watching, compared to what it sounded like when I was actually in person, was so different. I was like, wow, holy crap. I was actually a little surprised. I was like, sweet, this sounds good. So it kind of exceeded my expectations, but you know, what kind of expectations do you really have for a cheap $65 slip-on exhaust that's really just a metal tube? I definitely think that the Shorty GP exceeded my expectations as my first impression. I probably don't think it's the best sounding exhaust out there. Especially, you know, when I say exhaust, I should probably clarify that I'm really talking about the slip-on category, because I have no real experience with doing full exhaust system swap outs and upgrades, and you know, haven't really heard much. But you know, the only other Honda Rebel exhaust I heard in person was the Vance & Hines, but that was on a Honda Rebel 300. So again, not really the best comparison. I can't sit here and say, oh, it sounds better than the Two Brothers Racing or exhaust slip-on, or it sounds better than the Vance & Hines. What I can say is I definitely think it sounds better than the original stock exhaust, and there's a couple of reasons for that. So what I'm getting out of the sound, obviously I'm getting that louder exhaust. I believe in my video you get about 10 more decibels of volume. For my audio people, leave a comment down below and correct me. I don't really know how you say that, but like, yeah, there's 10 more decibels. The reader on my phone showed 10 higher decibels when I was doing the install as compared to the stock exhaust. So, and that is with the baffle in. It's louder than the stock exhaust, and I like that for sure, because I hopefully, like I said, vehicles, cars, cagers can hear me more. And I also like it because I wear earplugs every time I ride, and when I would get going fast on like highways or something like that, and there'd be a lot of wind noise, I wouldn't be able to hear the exhaust almost at all. I would only really be able to tell when it was time to shift if the bike was really screaming or based on the vibrations. If I put my knees against the tank and I kind of feel the vibrations of the motorcycle, then I could kind of tell, okay, it's time to shift. Now that I've got the Shorty GP, even with earplugs, I can hear the exhaust a lot better, and I think that's a good thing. I think, especially for a motorcycle that doesn't have a tachometer, it's really nice to be able to hear your exhaust at all points when you're riding. I think it's better in terms of volume. I think it's better than the stock exhaust in terms of the look. I think it's better than the stock exhaust just in terms of the overall sound. So one of the things that I really don't think I knew that the Shorty had from Radiant Cycles, the thing that I couldn't tell in any of the videos online that surprised me a lot when I first installed the exhaust was how kind of low and deep the exhaust sound really was. A lot of that is muffled by the stock exhaust. You really don't get that sound, but when I put the Shorty GP on, there's certain things that the stock exhaust doesn't sound, that it muffles, but there's also things, I think, that the camera and the recording gear and probably my speakers aren't able to pick up either. And it's really that just deep, low rumble that you get with the Shorty GP. You know, it kind of just fills things up. It makes the motorcycle feel bigger. It, you know, when you're riding and you're really ringing it out, it gives it that kind of louder, more full sound. And, you know, it feels good. I don't really want to go to the diesel pump. All right, let's get some gasoline. All right, what this bad boy is for. Spam cards. Boom. Yeah, just listen to that rumble. Spam cards. Velcroed on there. That's what this is. Kind of trying to hide behind the phone mount. But there we go. Alright, so talking about the Shorty GP and the sound. You know, I think this exhaust sounds really solid. And I thought it sounded okay on the videos. There's one of my videos out there that has the sound that I tried to pick up from the GoPro audio. But when I actually heard it in person, it was a totally different sound. It was a totally different exhaust. And I thought it just sounded really awesome. I was, like I said, really surprised at how great it sounded. If I had to talk about the cons, I think there's really only two cons that I can think of, at least off the top of my head. One of them being that, again, I'm not in love with the look. I think it looks good from certain angles. What I mean by that is, you know, if you look at it with the bike a certain way, I think the exhaust looks good, it fits in. But then if you look at it from a different angle, specifically kind of from the back, I think it looks a little goofy. You know, it sticks out. And now, does it look worse than the stock exhaust? I don't know. I mean, I'll leave that answer up to you guys. Let me know down in the comments if you think the Shorty looks better or worse than the stock exhaust. I'm probably leaning towards a little bit better. Overall, I think it looks fine. Pulling out in front of me. The other con that I would say about the Shorty GP is, even though I do like the sound, I'd like to kind of clarify that a little bit and say that even though I do like the sound, I would say I like it better in the lower RPMs. So whether you're at idle or, you know, kind of like a rev, just kind of cruising, that kind of thing. When it gets up into the higher RPMs, it can get to a point when you're really ringing the bike out that it's got a little bit of kind of like a rattling noise. But it's not bad. And I think you're going to get that from any motorcycle that you ring up, you know, in the RPMs. So I don't know if that's specific to the Shorty GP. And I haven't tried it out without the baffle. You know, that's something I probably will do. But I think it's been fine with it in. You know, I hope it accomplishes what I set out to accomplish with it just being some additional noise. Like I said, it definitely helps when I'm riding. I hope that other drivers can hear it better. And it's still quieter than if I were to just do a complete full exhaust delete and just straight pipe the bike. You know, I've got a buddy who straight piped his bike, and man, it is loud. It's not a Rebel, but when you go from the straight pipe back to, he had a straight pipe motorcycle, and then he went back to just like a regular slip-on exhaust, and it like cut the decibels in half, and it was crazy. And it's not, maybe not in half, but it just severely decreased the volume. I think maybe it's a con. Like I said, in the higher RPMs, you kind of ring it out, and it maybe sounds a little rattly, but it's not terrible. I don't think it's necessarily a deal breaker. If you're really going for trying to find the best exhaust sound you possibly can out of your motorcycle, you're probably going to end up doing a full-on exhaust system rebuild or upgrade. And so, you know, maybe you're not even going to care about the slip-ons at all. But you know what, if you're just going, hey, I want to upgrade the exhaust, get rid of that stock exhaust, maybe make it sound a little bit better, I think the Shorty GP does awesome. If I had to give my final thoughts and answer the question that we've all been wondering for so long, is the Shorty GP as good as they say it is? And if so, how good is it really? So the answer to the first question, is the Shorty GP as good as they say it is? I would say yes. I definitely think that the Shorty GP from Radiant Cycles is as good as they say it is. You know, other motovloggers have done videos on it, and, you know, lots of people post about it, and I for sure think that it is an awesome little exhaust. It being the price it is, the ease of installation, the sound that you really do get out of it. Like I said, I was surprised. You know, I thought it sounded decent when I was looking at videos online. If I had known that it would sound as good as it does, I would have gotten it a long time ago. When you add up all those parts, I would say, yeah, it definitely, for sure, is as good as they say it is, and is something worth looking at. You know, if you're interested in a Shorty slip-on, I would say, you know what, just give it a shot. Go for it. Give it a try. On to the question, how good is it really? Well, I wouldn't say it is the best exhaust. Like I mentioned earlier, I think there are probably better slip-on exhausts out there. And if you're really going for best sound, I would imagine that a full-on exhaust system upgrade would give you a better sound. But for what you're getting for the price, I would say that it's definitely a really solid option. And in my situation, like I said, I have plans probably one day to either get a different slip-on or do a full-on exhaust system upgrade. But I didn't want to spend that money right now because I've got other things I want to prioritize on my motorcycle. So I feel like the Shorty GP is a great thing to fill in, a great option. If you can, go ahead, try to listen to one in person. If not, you know what? If you can spare the 65 bucks, I would say go for it. So those are my thoughts on the Shorty GP. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here, but I'm going to stop at the famous picture spot. So is the Shorty GP from Radiant Cycles as good as they say it is? They being those online from the forums, YouTube, all the different areas. Yes, I think it is. And I would definitely say that it is worth checking out if you're looking to upgrade your exhaust and something that, you know, is a solid exhaust. I'd probably give it like a B+. A-, maybe in that range, you know, 80 to 90%. Hopefully that helped. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you have any other questions regarding this exhaust. Happy to do a follow-up video. Let me know what your thoughts are and what you have done in the past. You know, let me know if you've experienced this exhaust, if you had the same experience, or if you've potentially had other experiences and you think it isn't a great exhaust. I'd love to hear all your thoughts down below. Thank you all for hanging on out and stopping on by. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate it if you consider subscribing. I've got tons of Honda Rebel and motorcycle content both on the channel and headed your way, so smash that notification bell for future uploads and or live streams. And this is the Evergreen Motovlog channel, reminding y'all to ride safe out there, mind your surroundings, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.